As a freshman in a public high school, it's not uncommon for me to walk into a conversation and hear the words, "That's autistic," followed by laughing and a half-hearted apology after I flash them a dirty look. A year ago, I may have done the same thing, but after a lot of research, perspective, and personal experience, I realized that autism is not the handicapped disease that people make it out to be. Yes, autism can bring along crippling disabilities, but it is so much more than being a debilitating condition. We need to stop looking at autism as an insult and start looking at it as a piece of nature, because that's what autism is. For those of you who are unaware, the autism spectrum has two endpoints, high functioning and low functioning, with the area in between varying depending on symptoms. High functioning autistics are generally more accepted in public and can pass off as being non-autistic, while low functioning autistics may have mental or physical handicaps, making it harder for them to lead a normal life. Only a fraction of people on the spectrum are low functioning, but everyone deals with the endless rain of jokes by ignorant people. I first learned that I possess most traits of high-functioning autism in October of 2017. Having no idea that the traits I've been living with since I was born are actually a part of something much bigger and more complex. The fact that I now had a label took a while for me to get used to, but then I realized I don't need the label quite yet. I just needed to learn how to deal with it myself before I moved forward. And I did. I spent weeks reading every available article about every aspect of autism. I learned things about myself I had been questioning for years, such as why I don't understand sarcasm, why I need weight on my feet and body to fall asleep, and why I've struggled empathizing with others. I also learned about the side of autism I don't experience, and realized that the traits an average person may find strange or weird are just the brain's way of working in that specific person. For example, you may walk past a boy flapping his arms wildly with a grin on his face and think, what's wrong with him? He is stimming, a term used to describe a repetitive movement that is often seen as a distraction. When someone is experiencing sensory overload, this may be the best way to keep them focused on the task at hand. You may also hear some incoherent babbling, even screaming, but these noises are not being made to give you the chance to mock them. This is just a verbal tic, a way of distraction when the world is too much for them to handle. Because of these challenges and more, 63% of autistic children are bullied. That makes them 3 times more likely to be bullied than their average peers. The point is, I never would have known these things 6 months ago, simply because I didn't care about understanding them. I thought I knew exactly what made these people different. But after I began to break down my own walls of judgment and stereotyping, I wondered, why can't others? Realizing that the ones being bullied for their challenges were never the ones instigating it, I found the source of the problem: lack of perspective. In order to test my theory, I began to put myself in the shoes of an outsider. And now I challenge you to do the same. How would you feel if all your surroundings came rushing at you every single day, filling your head with white noise and all the crushing thoughts you can't begin to comprehend? What if I told you there were a way for you to relieve yourself of the enormous pressure, if only for a moment? Would you do it? What if I told you that you would be called a freak, mental, or retarded? Are you having second thoughts? The difference between this exercise and people with autism is that they usually don't have a choice in the matter, but it makes their life better in that moment. Autism has changed many lives for the better, much like it has mine. Without my autistic tendencies, my personality would be drastically different, and I definitely would not be the person I am today. When I was 5 years old and barely speaking, I discovered a love of reading from a teacher and a family who never gave up on me. When I first started wearing a big fluffy tutu every Valentine's Day, I wasn't self-conscious because I didn't know how to be. I still wear that tutu every February 14th. I can become hyper-focused and obsessed with one little thing in a matter of days, but that obsession just turns to dedication, even if it's a little bit annoying at first. Without this, I never would have discovered one of my main passions in life, autism awareness. I would never have had the opportunity to share my story with an audience so open and willing to learn. There is no cure for autism, and it is not something you can outlive. But my heavy connection to the disorder is not something I would ever want to live without, because autism isn't an insult. Thank you.